Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another eMarketer Tech Talk, where we host amazing guests from all areas of media, ad tech, and martech. I'm Peter Allen Clark, Senior Analyst and Editor, Media Content at eMarketer. And today we'll learn how marketers can improve personalization in their customer engagement strategy and how experimentation and AI can enhance that approach. Joining me today is Natasha Saviuk, Director of Growth at Wealthsimple. Hello, Natasha. How are you doing?
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, for sure. Also joining me is Jojo Zieff, Senior Product Manager at Braze. Hello to you, Jojo.
Hi, Peter. Happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. Jojo and Natasha have a great presentation for you, and afterwards we'll open it up for some Q&A. Use the chat window on the right to submit questions for the Q&A and to communicate with other audience members. So with that, Jojo, over to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We're really excited to have the opportunity to speak with you about some topics that feel more relevant and important than ever. To quickly introduce myself, my name is Jojo Zieff, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager at Braze. I have the privilege of working across our Braze AI features, as well as our broader orchestration capabilities. These are the tools that empower marketers and users of Braze to create personalized, meaningful experiences for their customers at scale. I'm also thrilled to be joined by Natasha, Director of Growth at Wealthsimple, and excited to hear more about her use cases for customer engagement. Now, let's take a quick look at the agenda for today. As you saw in the title, today's session is all about personalization and how we can take it to the next level with AI. We'll start by briefly covering why personalization matters, what makes it so critical to building better customer experiences, and how those experiences in turn help drive business outcomes. From there, we'll dive into how AI can augment these efforts. We'll walk through a crawl, walk, run approach, starting with foundational tactics and building towards more advanced strategies that combine efficiency with deep personalization. Along the way, we'll bring in Natasha's perspective and hear about some of the powerful use cases she's working on at Wealthsimple, how her team is delivering personalized experiences, and how AI is helping unlock even greater levels of customer engagement. And of course, we'll wrap up with time for some Q&A, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go. But let's start with a simple but important question. Why does personalization matter? For many of us as marketers, the answer may feel obvious. Personalized experiences help brands resonate more deeply with their audiences. They create meaningful, memorable moments that build trust and can ultimately turn consumers into loyal advocates. And beyond the emotional connection, personalization also delivers tangible business value. It helps drive key outcomes, whether that's increasing sales, improving retention, or activating a new account. But perhaps the most compelling proof of its importance comes from our own experience as consumers. We've all come to expect personalization in the products and services that we use, and we quickly notice when it's missing. That lived experience is what truly highlights why personalization isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have at this point. And let's take a look at our own inboxes for a moment. As consumers, we're hit with countless messages every single day across every imaginable channel and touchpoint. The average smartphone user receives 46 push notifications from brands each day. And this year's alone, it's projected that brands will send over 360 billion emails per day. And that's just email and push. Add in text, WhatsApp, in-app messages, website prompts. It's nonstop. However, since the session started, my phone has already buzzed a few times. The takeaway? Consumers have incredibly high expectations, and they have options. If experiences don't meet their standards, they won't hesitate to disengage. As marketers, this is a powerful reminder to break through the noise. We need to deliver compelling, personalized experiences that not only capture attention, but build loyalty and deliver real value. And when we think about the actor interactions that actually break through the noise, they tend to have one thing in common. They're the result of marketer creativity and strategy paired with powerful technology that enables brands to deliver the right message with the right context to the consumer and at the time at scale. We think this quote from McKinsey captures the heart of what personalization really is. It's not about checking boxes or following a rigid formula. It's about creating a feeling, a moment that feels relevant, thoughtful, and tailored. Because ultimately, Great personalization is when a brand makes you feel seen. It's that emotional connection. If marketers can consistently create those moments of relevance, meaning, and value, that's personalization done right. And of course, as marketers, we know that delivering that feeling of true personalization is easier said than done. In fact, according to Forrester research from July of last year, when marketing decision makers were asked about their biggest execution challenges, the top response, which was cited by over 40% of all respondents, was personalizing communications, experiences, and interactions. That's telling, because while personalization is something that we all aspire to do, doing it well and doing it at scale is really, really hard. This is across industries, company sizes, geographies. Marketers consistently face the same challenge: how to create meaningful and relevant experiences. And what we've found is that we need the right technology to support and streamline these efforts. And one of the ways that marketers are trying to overcome this is to enhance personalization through experimentation. Experimentation allows marketers to test different ideas and approaches. And when experimentation starts to incorporate AI, it can even pair each user with the content that will be best for them, helping them to facilitate more relevant and personalized experience. But despite its importance, experimentation isn't always easy to prioritize. In our most recent customer engagement review, where we surveyed thousands of marketing leaders globally, 32% said their company isn't even testing or experimenting at all. This highlights a big gap between the desire to personalize and experiment and the ability to actually operationalize it. And it's where technology and smarter decisioning can play a huge role in helping marketers do more with less. Now, while we fully acknowledge that personalization at scale is challenging, especially with limited time and resources, the impact of doing it well is undeniable. Brands that embrace effective personalization don't just deliver better customer experiences, they see measurable business results. According to McKinsey, personalization can reduce customer acquisition costs by 50%. It can increase revenue by up to 15%, and it can boost marketing ROI by up to 30%. That's significant. So today we want to focus on how AI can help remove some of those traditional barriers by saving time, scaling smarter, and unlocking the kind of personalization that drives both customer satisfaction and business performance. We also want to walk through what it looks like to crawl, walk, and run with AI and personalization. We know it all won't all happen at once, and it's not an all or nothing strategy. It's a spectrum. Personalization isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you can build over time with the right tools, strategies, and support. There are progressive steps that brands can take to involve their customer engagement. And with AI and automation, teams can move from generic engagement to relevant, timely messaging, and ultimately to proactive, prescriptive personalization that truly feels unique to each user. As you progress along the spectrum, you don't just improve customer experiences, you drive better results, become more efficient, and position your team as a leader in engagement. So let's explore how this could work by building an AI-powered personalization framework. With the right approach, you can begin using AI to work faster, be more efficient, and scale personalization across your entire customer base. So how can I power personalization? Let's break it down into three core areas that can align with our crawl, walk, run approach. The first is content personalization. AI can help tailor the body of the message so that it resonates more deeply, and once a customer opens your message, it feels relevant and emotionally impactful. AI enables marketers to quickly generate multiple content variants and ensures the message is tailored to each person's context. And then moving on to journey personalization. It's not just about what you say, but when, where, and how you say it. AI can help personalize that full customer journey, determining the right moment, the best channel, and the ideal frequency for each customer interaction. Because customers aren't static, personalization must evolve in real time as behaviors and needs shift. And then finally, we'll get into decisioning across multiple dimensions. AI can scale personalization across many dimensions beyond content and timing. It can add in offers, experiences, tone, sequences. In some cases, we can even combine personalized decisions simultaneously, delivering different combinations of message, content, channel, and offer all at once. With agentic AI, brands can continuously learn and adapt to individual preferences to match each person with the combination of dimensions that's most likely to drive a desired outcome. We'll dive deeper into how this works shortly. And each stage of this personalization framework aligns with key areas where AI can play a powerful role, helping marketers personalize at a deeper level and scale those efforts efficiency. So let's start with the content, or what you say. With the help of AI, we can personalize the copy and tone of each message. We can look at the creative elements that resonate most with each user, and even the specific products or offers each customer is most likely to engage with. It can also speed up this content creation and help you insert dynamic components into your messages that will help move the needle. Once we personalize the content, we can then consider the journey, or how, when, and whom you say it to. That means reaching the customers on the right channels, at the key moments, and with an understanding of where they are in relationship to your brand. Customer engagement isn't just about isolated messages, it's about building that connected experience over time. AI helps orchestrate those moments in a way that feels seamless and intentional. By personalizing across both content and journey, we move beyond simple audience or segment-based strategies and start creating truly individualized experiences that connect on a much deeper level. And then finally, AI can help optimize who you say it to, whether it's identifying the segments that are most likely to perform an action, or starting to tailor your messaging past segments and into personalizing it for unique individuals. And as we mentioned, experimentation is one of the most powerful tools marketers have to achieve true personalization. AI can make it even more effective. AI can help you choose the right content and tailor the right journey in a way that will be relevant. At its core, experimentation allows marketers to test different experiences and automatically match each customer with the one that's most likely to drive an outcome. When we start to incorporate more advanced machine learning, these systems analyze patterns and user behavior to predict how an individual will respond to a given message and dynamically deliver the most effective variant for each customer. This matters for a few reasons. It'll fuel your creativity, empowering teams to explore new ideas, test bold strategies, and break out of the one-size-fits-all mold. It can drive insight and optimize outcomes, helping you better understand your customers and fine-tune how you engage with them. And most importantly, it enables smarter personalization at scale, letting you evolve strategies in real time based on actual results and not assumptions. By combining experimentation with AI, marketers can move faster, get smarter, and deliver deeper, more resonant personalization at scale. So let's see how this can work in practice, starting again with that framework and how we can personalize content. One of the biggest barriers to content personalization, and something that I think we all see, is time and resources. According to proprietary research from the Braze Customer Engagement Review, 42% of marketers say they spend too much time on routine business as usual tasks, and 41 say they lack the technology to bring their most creative and impactful ideas to life. This lack of time and tooling stalls personalization, especially when it comes to creating multiple content variants that you might want to test. At scale, it becomes even harder. This is exactly where Gen AI can step up. Tasks that used to take hours, like writing message variants, localizing content, or brainstorming creative copy, now can be done in seconds with a simple text prompt. With Gen AI, marketers are no longer limited by production bandwidth issues, but instead can focus on the strategy, creativity, and experimentation. So, when we look at the potential applications of AI with content creation, one area where marketers are seeing the most traction is AI-assisted content personalization across a few areas. So let's break it down. First, it can help with faster content creation. Marketers can quickly generate multiple message variations, help overcome writer's block, inspire new creative directions, or refresh their strategies with ease. Then there's dynamic content personalization, AI that enables you to insert tailored content into messages. This can come in the form of personalized product recommendations, travel suggestions, curated experiences based on each individual's behavior, preferences, or profile. And then even smarter audience targeting. AI can help determine who should even receive the message in the first place by predicting things like likely to convert, churn, or engage. So first, we can rapidly create content variants with AI. So let's start with content creation, a process that traditionally takes time, resources, and multiple rounds of review. With AI, you can generate content variants much faster, unlocking new possibilities for experimentation. For example, an AI copywriter can help you craft and test subject lines aligned to your brand voice and guidelines. It's perfect for generating fresh ideas and supporting more robust experimentation. And then with an AI image generator, you can quickly produce custom imagery tailored to your campaigns, which is ideal for product launches, seasonal content, and other initiatives. And then AI copy editing can also make sure that your message is ready to go and feel confident that it's free from errors and has an appropriate tone. This kind of AI assisted workflow allows marketers to move faster, test more ideas, and implement personalization strategies that were previously out of reach. And then next, you can take content even further by personalizing different content, dynamic content within the message. So again, AI predictive targeting allows you to identify audiences most likely to take an action, whether that's making a purchase, re-engaging with your app, or completing a sign up. From there, you can deliver messaging tailored to that predicted behavior. There's AI-powered recommendation, which takes personalization to the one-to-one level. Whether it's products, events, activities, or content, AI can surface the most relevant item for each individual. These don't just make experimentation faster, they make it more effective. So with that, I'll pass it over to Natasha to share how she's leveraging some of these examples over at Wealthsimple.
Thanks, Jojo. So, if you haven't heard of Wealthsimple, we're the largest fintech in Canada. We have over 3 million clients and over 70 billion in assets under management. And we offer a suite of financial tools to help our clients achieve financial freedom, which includes self-directed investing, which is commission-free way to purchase stocks and ETFs. We have crypto, we have managed portfolios, which are low-fee, diversified portfolios managed by our advisors. We have Wealthsimple Checking, which is a high-interest checking account. And finally, Wealthsimple Tax. And in a perfect world, every client would have all 5 of these products because the more products that our clients have, the better their retention and the more revenue we make. But with so many products and so many potential upsells within those products, how do we avoid bombarding our clients and send them only relevant messages? For every client, our goal is to send them the right message at the right time via the right channel. And the way we do that is by leveraging personalization and AI. So I'll walk you through some examples of how we do that today. This first example is really simple, but it was really cool and really effective, so I'm really excited to share it with you anyway. So the challenge we're having here is that our checking account has many new features that our clients don't know about. And so the challenge is, how do we increase awareness of these features? What we decided to do is to create a gamified experience where clients would be encouraged to discover the features by running a giveaway. And how the giveaway works is that we opened it up to all checking account clients, and those that made 10 or more qualifying transactions were entered to win an Oura Ring. This campaign was entirely run in-app with Braze marketing cards and Braze modals. So the example you see on the screen here is actually a Braze breather modal. And now you might be wondering, where does the personalization come in? So the asset that you see at the top here, the variant of the ring that you see is actually based on the audience segment that you're in. Different rings appealed to different genders and different ages, so we segmented and showed you an image accordingly. And the other, perhaps more exciting piece is the dynamic progress tracking bar, where here, every time a client completes an action, the progress bar and the copy updates dynamically using liquid personalization. And so this campaign was really effective. 60% of our clients clicked into a card and saw the campaign in the breather modal, which tells us that in-app is a really effective channel for checking account clients. We saw 21% in first-time feature usage, and we also saw a 15% increase in power users, so clients with 10 or more transactions per month. So gamified dynamic experiences like this are really great to drive engagement and feature adoption and awareness. But what happens when you want to cross-sell a client to an entirely different product? As I mentioned, we have 5 products in total. So how can we know if this product is right for you? Well, this is where AI predictions come in handy. So the example I'm showing here is a flow to cross-sell clients to our managed portfolios. And how it works is that we use AI to generate a score between 0 to 1 for how likely each client is to cross-sell and adopt the managed portfolios. If the client has a score of 0.7 or above, we send them down the cross-sell flow. But if their score is below 0.7, we don't send them anything. And the results are really interesting because it shows that when we use the AI generated probability to segment our audiences, we're able to send 70% fewer emails compared to campaigns where we just send it blindly to everyone. And we still increase account open rate by 43%. So, in other words, we're able to really narrow down our audience without sacrificing conversion. And for that other 70% of the audience, we can now target them with more relevant campaigns. So, building AI models like this to determine probability can be pretty tedious and time consuming. And if you don't have a data team, pretty much impossible. So, what we're doing to help us scale this is to use Braze predictive events so we can do this across more conversions and do this really at scale. I'll pass it back to Jojo.
Awesome. Thanks, Natasha. So let's move ahead, talk more about how we can personalize journeys with AI as part of our walk approach. So AI doesn't just help with the content. It can also power smarter experimentation that leads to better customer journeys. So this brings us to orchestration, the ability to serve up the right campaign or journey variant to the right person at the right time based on what you know about them. With more advanced machine learning, marketers can go beyond simple A/B tests to experiment and optimize timing. When is the best moment to reach someone? Frequency. How often should you engage? Channel mix. What channel or combinations of channels will be most effective? Email, push, in-app, something else? And then journey structure. Which sub-journey or experience path should they be placed on to drive the best experience? These models don't just help you match a customer to a message, they help you match them to an entire experience that's most likely to resonate based on their behaviors, preferences, and life cycle stage. In short, AI-powered orchestration makes personalization holistic. Brands that are doing this effectively are unlocking better results. According to our research from the Customer Engagement Review, top performing brands are 73% more likely to carry out sophisticated message personalization. And this is great for a lot of reasons. It moves beyond one size fits all to find the interaction or experience that is best for each customer. It helps achieve deeper relevance at scale that humans just don't have the scope or capacity to do for every single customer. It also helps achieve better results by finding message variants that will most likely resonate for every customer and at scale at the right time. This can be great for various use cases where deeper personalization helps achieve measurable impact for a business. But again, from here, I want to pass it back to Natasha to discuss how she uses journey personalization at Wealthsimple.
Thanks, Jojo. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, and as Jojo just alluded to, we really want to make sure that we're sending each client the right content. And a challenge that we naturally have as marketers is what's the right combination of push notifications and emails that will be the best to drive the conversion that we want. So in this example that I'm showing here, it's a cross-sell path for our checking account product. And what we did specifically is we use personalized experiment paths to test 3 different journeys. How that works is that you create three different potential journeys and send a small percentage of your audience down each. After the test period is over, the remainder of the audience goes down the winning path, which for us was path B. And as a bonus, we layered into this campaign send time optimization, which means that each client received the message at the time of day that they were the most likely to engage with it and open it. So our winning variant here had a 22% increase in click-through rate and a 10% increase in checking account clients, so 10% increase in cross-sell, which was really great for us. So you can imagine that tools like these are really great even to just find the best overall path. But wouldn't it be even better if you could determine the best combination for each individual client? I'll pass it back to Jojo to talk a bit more about that.
Awesome. Thanks, Natasha. So, kind of the final part of this that we want to talk about is AI decisioning across multiple dimensions. So, this takes everything we've discussed so far, content, journeys, offers, channels, and brings it together under one powerful idea, personalizing across multiple dimensions in real time and at scale. With AI decisioning, marketers can experiment continuously, simultaneously testing across variables like message, timing, channel, journey, path, and offer. It can then learn from every interaction, using reinforcement learning or predictive models to identify what works best, and then automatically deliver the optimal experience to each individual based on their unique behavior, preferences, and likelihood to make an action. This means personalization, again, not just at the message level, but at the experience level. So, for those who may not be familiar, marketers today can leverage AI decisioning, where AI agents learn how to deliver personalized experiences for each customer and at scale. So, you've probably been hearing a lot about agents lately. So, if we take a step back, we define agents as systems that perceive their environment, make decisions, and then take action autonomously to achieve a specific goal that you have. In marketing, these decisioning agents can be applied to customer engagement, personalizing the experience across multiple dimensions and driving towards the outcomes that matter most to marketers. So, again, let's see how this can work at a high level. Usually, marketers will start by choosing a success metric they are looking to maximize, such as loyalty subscriptions or conversions or buying a specific product. They will also set message options and guardrails, like the channels they would want to utilize or the type of content that they would want to use. They'll select the dimensions that they want to test and personalize. So, for example, users could get different subject line, different content variants, creative, timing, channel, frequency, and more. And based on different combinations and permutations of the dimensions, the system will create thousands of experiences that are available for personalization. This creates a large set of possible options to match each user with and allow them to get the experience that would most likely lead to any type of goal for them, which in this case could be a subscription. AI decision agents then continuously learn the best way to engage each customer across multiple dimensions. At the core, this is a subset of machine learning called reinforcement learning. In reinforcement learning, at a high level, an AI decisioning agent is given a set of possible actions, such as the different messages, offers, channels, or journey paths, and chooses one based on what it knows about the user. Once the action is taken, the agent waits to deserve the outcome. If the user engages positively, it's like signing up for that loyalty program, that's considered a reward. If the user takes a negative action, like unsubscribing, that's a penalty. These outcomes are fed back into the model, helping it learn patterns between specific users and the experiences that lead to rewards and minimize penalties. Over time, the agents will refine their policy, continuously improve their decisions, and maximize rewards and minimize penalties. In simple terms, the models get smarter with every interaction, learning the best way to engage each individual based on real-world feedback. This enables marketers to deliver not just personalized content, but personalized experiences, adaptively optimized for each customer at scale. And the best part of AI-powered decisioning is it is that level of scale. Decisioning engines can generate far more combinations of dimensions and experiences than humans could on their own, and test all of them. By leveraging reinforcement learning, these systems continuously learn and adapt, pairing each user with the experiences most likely to resonate with them personally and drive meaningful customer experiences. We are excited about the continued innovation in AI decisioning. But with that, we're really just scratching the surface of how AI can supercharge customer engagement. We want to give a quick plug for our AI playbook for even more strategies and use cases. You can scan the QR code here or find the link in your resource tab. But with that, we'd love to open things up to live Q&A with our audience.
Jojo and Natasha, thank you so much for that great content. I really loved how you talked about approaching personalization as a spectrum. I think that could really add more flexibility into strategies trying to tailor experiences for customers. Before we get to some of the great questions submitted by today's audience, Natasha, I do have a question for you. Can you share any other AI or personalization ideas that you are planning to test in the future? Any around AI decisioning? How do you decide what to test and prioritize?
So we really have two challenges right now. And the first is I showed you how we can use AI to figure out the probability that a client is going to convert. But what if a client is likely to do two things, three things, or even five things? How do we decide which path to send them down? And the other challenge is, of course, we can use personalized path or experiment paths to figure out the best journey overall, but different clients are likely to respond to different messages and different types of flows. And so, but naturally, trying to personalize that for every client is a segmentation nightmare and really difficult to do at scale. And that's where I'm really excited to use AI decisioning, where we can not only have AI help decide what is the best path to send a client down, but within that path, figure out what is the right combination of visuals and copy and cadence and channels to get that conversion. And that's really going to change our job as marketers, where we can spend a lot more time focused on our clients and what motivates them and just giving AI really good content to work with, while AI kind of takes on the task of creating infinite variations to test and optimize and really get the best paths possible for each client.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, let's see what other questions we've received. This one is for Natasha. Natasha, it seems like you do a lot of experimentation with personalization. How did you create the sort of culture on your team to make that possible?
So I definitely set the expectation with my team that I expect them to run a lot of experiments. But there's a few ways that I reinforce it. There's three ways actually. One is every single campaign or test or every single marketing campaign that we run is run as a test where there's a holdout group that receives no comms. And when you're running everything as a test by default, you're more likely to want to test different variants within that test. The next thing is that we really have a culture of sharing within the team. So, with every campaign that you run, what are the things that worked for you? Or maybe what are the things that you were excited about that didn't work? That really allows the rest of the team to cherry pick what they think is interesting, or maybe something they think might work for their flows or their campaigns. And the last thing is we really praise people for being the first to test something. And so naturally, that creates a culture where you kind of want to be the one that is the first to try something and get kind of the clout in the team for bringing the tool or bringing the tool to our team's tech stack.
It's a great tactic. Yeah, that encouragement goes a long way, I'm sure. All right, here's another question for both of you. Maybe Jojo, you can start with this. Using customer data can be a little fraught. Any advice on how to make sure we're adding value with our personalization efforts and not creeping out our customers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think, I mean, one thing that's really important is taking the ownership of customer data really seriously. I mean, we're stewards of our data, and I think the key thing there is really making sure that we provide any type of reciprocal value. So if we're using the data, how are we using it to create a better experience, provide a recommendation, or make an overall experience that's better for the customer that makes them want to come back for more? I also think another important thing to think about is leveraging zero-party data or data that's actively given. Um, Customers oftentimes will see that when you're using data that they know that they've given to you, that is a something that they'll be less likely to be creeped out about. So I think it's really making sure that you use that data responsibly and then provide value with that data.
Yeah, Natasha, any advice on how to not creep out customers?
Yeah, so being a fintech, data and data privacy is so important. And so we have this added responsibility in how we treat our client data. And there's really a line between being personalized and being too personalized. As Jojo mentioned, if you're using first-party data and data that clients know you have about them, you can use that to make an experience feel useful and really relevant. So, for example, you can put accounts right on the home screen so people know that you have them and don't have to go digging for a very specific thing. However, if we're using more sensitive data or data that maybe clients aren't super aware that we have about them, that's where we can toe a line that gets a little bit too much. So when it's done well, personalization should feel useful, it should feel relevant, and it shouldn't feel icky at all.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Here's another one. This one is for Jojo, it looks like. Is it possible to use these kinds of tactics for websites where segmentation is slightly more limited and sent time optimization isn't possible?
Yeah, and I think that's part of this spectrum. I mean, it's not a one size fits all. You have to use some components of everything all at once. There are different things that you can optimize from a website perspective that you might not be able to do on other mediums, or things that you might not be able to leverage but would want to leverage something else. So for example, here, I mean, the content personalization, whether that's providing dynamic recommendations,
Mhm.
whether that's creating different types of messages that are going to be more likely to be personalized and engage your customers in an effective way. So I think it's really kind of picking and choosing the AI tactics that are going to be most beneficial to your strategies. But again, I don't think it's a kind of all or nothing approach. There are different levels to personalization and different tools that you can use to help you get there.
Great, great. That makes so much sense to me. All right, here's one for Natasha. Natasha says, so cool that you're able to personalize the in-app experience. Are your product or engineering teams typically involved in testing these campaigns, or are you able to handle them within your team?
Yeah, so you might be surprised to hear that a lot of what we do in app is entirely powered with Braze. So, for example, the Oura Ring screen that I showed you was entirely marketing powered and built by people on my team. The one thing, though, that we should admit is that we have a UX designer that helps us with the design of these modal templates. So at this point, we have a decent library of modals to achieve our different goals. But that said, it's self-serve for the most part.
Yeah. Okay, here's one for both of you, but maybe Jojo, you can start us out. How do you approach personalization for users you don't have much data on?
Yeah, and I think we kind of touched on this earlier, but I think there's a couple of things that you can do. I mean, one is leveraging your creativity. I think there are different ways that you can engage kind of as part of an onboarding experience or when people first log into an app or a website, that can be used to create really meaningful experiences and start to build that relationship where you can then further personalize. I also think leaning on that zero party data again, like, are you asking questions? That can then help lead to certain parts of the website or the app? Or are you creating different paths that users can go on based on how they're interacting with your brand? So again, I think it's really taking advantage of the journey and using your creativity, starting to gather information and creating really dynamic experiences, even for users that might be interacting with your brand for the first time.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Natasha, any tips on approaching personalization without much data?
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't say this in a talk about AI, but one thing you can do is a very low-tech solution, which is just ask your users. So for example, in onboarding, you could just add a survey screen that asks them maybe for their interests or what their goals are or why they even came to your app or product in the first place. And it's extremely low tech, but you can use those initial data points to start tailoring the first time user experience, especially like for us, a crypto user and somebody who wants a portfolio managed for them are probably going to be quite different. So if we can kind of get ahead of that and know why they came here, we can make sure that the experience out of the gate is a lot more relevant.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, looks like we've got time for one last question. I really appreciate you all being here. This looks like it's possibly for both, but I'll throw it to you first, Jojo. Let's see. It says, my organization is generally pretty resistant to AI. How do you recommend I approach getting buy-in, especially for advanced stuff like AI decisioning?
Yeah, and I think one of the things again is approaching it as a spectrum. I mean, we see that AI adoption, similar to how Natasha described her culture of experimentation, it's not necessarily all at once. But it's really kind of starting off with some specific tactics, celebrating wins, and then showing value and kind of how you can build on that further. I think that there's a lot of things that you can kind of start off with. People are familiar with prompting, content creation as a base, and then building into some of the more advanced tactics like AI decisioning. I definitely don't think it has to be an all or nothing approach when it comes to AI, and it can help build over time.
Yeah. Natasha, how about you? Any tips on getting buy-in about AI or more advanced stuff like AI decisioning?
Yeah, I think if I was running into this issue, I would try to find a small way to test it.
Mhm.
Because in my experience, a little data can go a long way in proving or solidifying a business case. So if you're able to maybe get buy-in for a small pilot, that could be a good way to get unblocked there. Or if that's not possible, maybe even just a very specific experiment around personalization that doesn't use AI,
Yeah.
but where you can then extrapolate, what would happen if we did this at scale for all our users. And if that's completely off the table, then internal propaganda, like start sharing business cases from other companies. People tend to talk a lot about AI on like Reddit and X and all that. So you can find, people and business cases to share internally. And if those two fail, honestly, maybe change jobs.
Well, with that, Natasha and Jojo, I really want to thank you so much for this great content and answering all of these wonderful questions from our audience. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we wrap up, let me take just a moment to tell you about eMarketer's media channels. Visit eMarketer.com to register for upcoming live analyst and tech talk webinars. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletters. Also, don't forget to check out our various podcasts, including Behind the Numbers, Reimagining Retail, and The Banking and Payment Show. Listen everywhere you find podcasts and watch on Spotify and eMarketer's YouTube channel. Keep an eye on your email for the link to today's playback and deck. And of course, feel free to contact us if you have any other questions. Thank all of you for your time. And thanks again to Natasha and Jojo and the team at Braze. And of course, our eMarketer studio team behind the scenes for making this wonderful webinar possible. We'll see you all on the next Tech Talk.